He actually did a brief stint in the army as well to try and shake off his troubled teenage years, but the second that he got out, he got pulled right back down to the Keys, doing the only real thing that he actually knows how to do, which is running contraband for local drug runners. And that right there is the entire Keys region in a nutshell. The postcard description that we mentioned earlier that tries to sell the place as his laid-back, easygoing tropical paradise, where the dress code is casual and the local bars are always packed, but underneath the surface, there's more going on. That exact tension between wanting a slow and easy life and constantly getting dragged into, the dangerous, chaotic situations that he will, is the core of Jason's character. And it's a core design philosophy behind this region itself. And this is going to matter a lot for how the game opens up, so let's get into it. So let's start at home base. This is Jason's current home as we know it at the start of the game. The specific island that this house is sitting on is called Key Lento, and it's located right in Marina County. If we look at the house itself, we can see it's built up on stilts to protect it from storm surges, obviously as it's on the beach. And we can see parked underneath it, and this is from the Ultimate Edition screenshots, there's an orange muscle car, a dirt bike, and a kayak. Here's the thing though, is that this technically is not Jason's house. It's actually owned by an older guy named Brian Heder, who we're definitely going to talk about in a second. And Jason is essentially just living there completely rent-free in exchange for doing his shakedowns. The rest of Key Lento looks exactly like this. It's pretty much a sprawl of modest, sun-faded waterfront homes where people have boat docks instead of traditional driveways. There are boats and docks absolutely everywhere, and the incredibly clear blue water is very present. It is the absolute polar opposite of the Vice City skyline. The neon chaos, the massive skyscrapers, the traffic, everything like that. It's none of that. It's just hot, slow. It's an isolated island community where everyone knows everyone. And I'm telling you right now, the deliberate slowness is going to be the entire point of why we are starting in this region. All right, so let's talk about the dude who actually owns the house, Brian Heder. So this older dude right here is honestly already one of my favorite side characters that Rockstar has shown off so far. And the reason for that is because he's a classic, old school drug runner from what they call the golden age of smuggling out in the Keys. The massive shark tattoo that's on his arm isn't just a random thing either. It's a direct nod to his official character bio. Rockstar describes him as a guy who looks like a total lazy Leonida beach bum on the outside, but he moves like a patient great white shark when there's money on the line. He runs a local business called Brian's Boatworks and Marina, which he manages alongside his third wife, Lori. Brian has a quote that you can find on the GTA 6 website where he's essentially bragging to Jason about the old days, claiming he used to haul so much weed through the islands back in the 80s that he could have made the entire state of Leonida straight up levitate. Like, that kind of tells you everything you need to know about his energy. He's kind of that legendary semi-retired smuggler who's pretty much stepped back from the highly dangerous hands-on part, and he's delegating it to Jason and using younger, capable guys like him to do his heavy lifting. And here is where the heavy lifting is actually happening. On paper, Brian's Boatworks looks like a pretty legitimate, slightly run-down boat repair shop. But obviously, it's probably going to be a front. We've already seen official footage of Jason loading crates of contraband onto the back of a seaplane at this exact marina under the cover of night. And that brings us to this guy right here, and this is the guy on lookout with the binoculars, which is Cal Hampton. According to Rockstar, Cal is Jason's incredibly paranoid conspiracy theorist buddy who essentially spends his entire day sitting on a couch at home, drinking beers, and intensely snooping on local Coast Guard radio frequencies. Now, for a small-time smuggling crew, that's actually a pretty valuable asset. A guy who's constantly listening to the Coast Guard encrypted comms is the guy who can tell you when a specific stretch of the water is going to be clear to make a midnight smuggling run. So it's not just going to be a funny, eccentric background character on the couch. That's a pretty built-in early game mission radar system that's right there for us in plain sight. It's the sort of organic world building that makes Rockstar World so exciting. Now that we have the characters out of the way, which were important to get through as they are probably going to be crucial to the early game of GTA 6, we can get on to these specific locations we know within the Keys itself. So let's start with this next location, which is the Rusty Anchor. So as we can see, it's a local dive bar that's located right in the heart of Key Lento, and its official slogan in-game is "Soak your troubles at the Rusty Anchor." It appears to be heavily modeled after a legendary real-world spot down in Key Largo called the Caribbean Club. The thing that absolutely blows my mind about this is how Rockstar is approaching the map. They didn't just build a super pretty exterior for you to drive past. The inside of the Rusty Anchor is fully enterable and incredibly detailed. The walls are completely covered in real-world looking license plates, and there's working TVs playing local news broadcasts, and they even have posters taped up for local indie bands that perform at their bar. We've even seen official media of Jason and Lucia just sitting out on the wooden back deck of the bar with a couple of beers, completely ignoring the crime lifestyle for a second to just watch the sunset. And that stuff like that really does make the world feel alive. And the entire island surrounding this bar is just constantly doing its own thing, completely independent of whether you, the player, are showing up to look at it or if you're not. You have a full-on gator-themed mini golf course down the road, you have the Wonder Whale gift shop selling ridiculous tropical trinkets, and you have wildlife completely integrated into the suburban traffic. And this is where that massive generational leap from Red Dead Redemption 2 is really going to show. Because instead of applying it to the rugged Wild West, they're now applying it to a sleepy, eccentric, modern-day Florida coastal town. The world isn't just sitting stagnant, waiting for you to walk up and trigger their animations and cutscenes. It feels like a genuinely alive, sweaty, lived-in Florida town. And I'll be real with you, that level of micro detail and density is something that's going to take this game from being just okay to being an amazing lived-in world the same way Red Dead Redemption 2 was. Let's take a quick step back for just a second, because after looking at all this detail, it could be easy to lose perspective on the scale of what we're dealing with here. Everything I've just spent the last minute showing you, from the characters, the stilt house, the smuggling aspects, the fully detailed bar, and everything like that, all of that is existing within one single region. One region out of the 6 that Rockstar has officially confirmed for us, which includes Vice City, the Leonida Keys, the Grass Rivers, Mount Calaga, Port Gellhorn, and Amberosa. 6 massive, culturally distinct regions. So the fact that they built a localized area this deeply detailed tells us the scale of this game. This is probably going to be geographically one of the smaller regions of the entire map, so the scale is pretty insane. And that realization is going to lead directly into the biggest narrative theory that I wanted to present in this video. So after going through all the details that Rockstar has given us, I am personally pretty highly convinced that the Leonida Keys are exactly where the story of GTA 6 will actually begin for us. And I don't mean like a quick 5-minute tutorial mission thing where you rob a gas station and boom, you're in Vice City. Like, I mean, this will be a substantial chunk of gameplay to start the game, like the first few opening hours of the campaign. So let me stack up the actual evidence for why I think this makes sense. And like I said, I'll be clear about what's confirmed and what's just my personal read and speculation. So fact number 1 is that Jason lives here. His established backstory, his current employment, and his home base currently are all in the local smuggling ring that's completely rooted in the Keys. Fact number 2 is that in the footage from trailer 2, we see Jason driving out to pick Lucia up from the Leonida Penitentiary. And then we also see footage of Lucia and Jason together at his house in the Keys. So I'm thinking the game will start with you doing some early missions as Jason, eventually you're picking up Lucia, and start the early first bit of the game in the Keys together. So you have both main characters, your initial vehicles, your primary safe house, and your first major employer in-game in Brian. And you also have your built-in kind of buddy in Cal, all packed tightly into one calm, self-contained, isolated starting region. To me, like, that isn't a coincidence. I think that's pretty clear, like, this is going to be the opening act of the game. Now, the next part is just my personal theory, but I believe Rockstar is doing this entirely on purpose for pacing purposes. They want you to start somewhere that's smaller, open, relatively slow, so you can take your time learning the core mechanics of the game. Whether it's, the revised driving physics or the new boating controls, the gunplay, how civilian AI reacts and is different in this game. Because I just think that if they just unleashed you into the absolute overwhelming chaos of Vice City to start the game, it would be overwhelming and just so much to start with. If you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, you know exactly what this looks like. If you remember the snowy mountain prologue in Chapter 1 in Coulter, it's a quiet, contained chapter designed to teach you how to exist in the world before they let you into the free open world itself. And my major hope here, and this is where I'd push back on Rockstar's past design choices in Red Dead Redemption 2, is that I want the Keys to be a lot more open and sandbox friendly than what the Red Dead Snow chapter was. So like, I don't want to be stuck just in the camp or in, my house and only being able to do missions. Like, I want it to be a little more open while still being contained to just the Keys. Let me go rob a local convenience store, drive around, get in a boat, explore underwater, ignore the main story and go fishing for 3 hours if I want to. Like, give me the freedom of like a mini sandbox starting area, I think. Because here's the bold version of what I'm trying to convey, is that the Keys don't exist to keep you away from Vice City, but they exist to make finally crossing that bridge and entering Vice City feel like a genuinely earned and like awesome moment. And I think a lot of people are seriously underrating this island and the Keys as just like a, you know, smaller starting zone where Jason lives. But like, this is literally going to, in my opinion, be the on-ramp for the entire game. And it will be kind of that calmer, sweatier, and more grounded take on Florida that will make you feel like Jason, and this is like that easy life that they've mentioned in the marketing before you get into the chaos of Vice City. So if you remember how I mentioned early in the video that Rockstar said that the Leonida Keys is going to be a very beautiful area, but also a very dangerous area, well, this is where that kind of pays off, and it's in the water. So if we look at this underwater shot, like you can see like they have fully realized ecosystems down here, whether it's sea turtles or coral reefs or, you know, eels or whatever type of tropical fish, right? Like whatever type of thing it is, they've got full underwater, you know, things going on. And they've been pretty clear that there's genuine danger in the water. Even GTA 5 had sea animals that could attack you, and Red Dead Redemption 2 had a really built out wildlife system with alligators and bears and things that could really attack you and kill you. So I'm expecting that this game will probably have more of the same. Now, obviously in Miami in modern day, which will be great. But yeah, up on the surface as well, the water's just as active. You have sandbar boat parties. What I'm expecting to be deep fishing mechanics that build upon Red Dead Redemption 2's